Hello and a very good evening. I am Razi Ahmad. Welcome to the Nightline. As always, thank you for joining us. But first, let's head to the headlining news. Fair to all races and ethnic groups. That is the essence of the Sarawak government's leadership. Chief Minister Datuk Pati Abang Johari Tun Openg said the state government has consistently taken the administrative approach of prioritizing the interests of all races in the state ever since the time of Tun Abdul Rahman Yaakob as Chief Minister.
Kerana kita tak adil pada semua. Orang Melanau pun kita, orang Bidayuh pun orang kita, orang Iban pun orang kita. Maka pimpinan orang Melayu berdasarkan kepada Sarawak sentrik dalam negara Malaysia. Sebabnya kita adil. Dari dulu sampai kini tu kita adil.
He said this in a speech at the groundbreaking ceremony of Wisma Melayu Sarawak in Kuching on Thursday. He said no race will be marginalized, be it in the aspect of development or distribution of aid, as this is to provide fairness to all in the state. Abang Johari said the commitment rendered by the government is evident, as assistance is not only for the Malays but also to other races such as the Iban, Melayu and Orang Ulu.
Dan bulan baru saya akan dengan Orang Ulu forum di Miri, juga bangunan Orang Ulu. Jadi kita adil kepada semua. Kerana bagi kita orang Melayu, pimpinan kita, kita anggap mereka adalah satu. Mungkin kita berdoa kepada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, mereka juga dapat mempunyai falsafah yang sedemikian. Ini cara kita. Dan seterusnya masyarakat Bidayuh mungkin kita bantu. Datuk Ek ada sini. Jadi inilah cara-cara kita memerintah negeri Sarawak. Dan insya-Allah yang penting ialah ilmu di kalangan kita.
Ownership rights in Sarawak will always be recognized and advocated for, no matter if it is Malay-owned land or Native Customary Rights land or NCR.
According to Deputy Chief Minister Dato' Amar Awang Tengah Ali Ahsan, the survey and release of NCR land titles have been implemented since the 1960s, specifically through solution operations and programs to survey traditional villages in line with the provision in the state's land code.
Usaha ini diteruskan dengan program pengukuran tanah NCR inisiatif baru pada tahun 2010 yang telah mencapai kejayaan yang cemerlang dari segi kepantasan dan kecekapan.
He said the survey program is ongoing effort to ensure all NCR land and traditional villages in the state can receive valid land titles.
Program pengukuran kampung tradisional ini adalah merupakan program berterusan yang menjadi agenda utama kerajaan kita. Ianya merangkumi semua kaum bumi kita. Lebih lagi di kawasan kampung-kampung yang sudah lama.
The dream is now a reality. Wisma Melayu Sarawak will be a new landmark in Kuching with an expanse of 6.5 acres in its first phase. The building will symbolize the Sarawakian identity and signifies its entirely inclusive society.
Assistant Minister of International Trade and Industry, Industrial Terminal and Entrepreneur Development, Datuk Muhammad Naruddin Majai said its construction will begin early next year. He said the building is dedicated to the late Tan Sri Adenan Satem when he was the chairman of the Board of Trustee for Sarawak Malay Culture Foundation.
Masa ini AKYBMS menumpang kuartus lama kerajaan yang dibina zaman British di Jalan Roadway Kuching dekat Batu Lintang. Beliau juga berimpian supaya Wisma ini nanti akan menyediakan ruang pejabat dan juga venue untuk aktiviti-aktiviti masyarakat Melayu serta untuk kegunaan masyarakat lain seperti penganjuran persidangan, majlis-majlis rasmi peringkat negeri, peringkat kebangsaan maupun peringkat antarabangsa.
When completed, the two-story building will have main hall with a capacity of 2,000 people, 3 seminar rooms, meeting rooms, Malay arts and cultural galleries, exhibition areas, administration office, mosque, and recreational park in the Wisma Melayu Sarawak compound.
Sarawak is currently looking into the idea of exploring James Shoal, an underwater shoal located in Beting, 83 kilometers northwest of Bintulu. He said this was in view of findings made by scientists that James Shoal potentially holds an estimated 93 billion barrels of oil.
James Shoal adalah kawasan ada mempunyai potensi lah. Hasil bumi aja. Saya sebutkan tadi.
Sudah sebut 93 bilion tadi yang termasuk yang dah dieksploit sekian itu apa?
Belum, yang di potensi.
Ya, potensi.
Ada hasil bumi.
Bilion ya.
Boleh kurang 93 ya aja.
Earlier in his speech, Abang Johari said he discovered the potential of James Shoal through a book he had read. As such, he said Sarawak's resource indirectly required the expertise of scientists, archaeologists and experts in this matter.
Belum diteroka. Mungkin ada diteroka, saya tahu. Saya ada detail. Saya pun tadi saya baca buku. Okay. Ha? Nangka lupa lah keadaan. Nangka lupa lah.
Shoal is located 22 meters underwater in the South China Sea and is within Malaysia's exclusive economic zone. Despite being located about 45 nautical miles from the coast of Bintulu in the South China Sea, China has made claims on James Shoal based on its 9-dash line.
Welcome back. Malaysia recorded 2,234 COVID-19 infections today, the highest daily record for the country. Prior to this, the most number of cases in a day was 2,188, which was recorded on November 24. The country now has 78,499 confirmed cases since the start of the pandemic. In his daily COVID-19 statement, Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said 3 more people died from the virus, raising Malaysia's total fatalities to 396. Selangor dominated the list of new cases out of all states with 1,428 infections. The sharp rise in the number of cases is largely attributed to the Seruling cluster in Selangor, which recorded 842 new cases in just one day. Meanwhile, in Sarawak, 1 new case was reported, a Sarawakian man returning from Selangor for the holidays with his family. Sarawak Disaster Management Committee said the man arrived at Kuching International Airport on December 9 after flying in from Kuala Lumpur. Following the single case, the cumulative number of COVID-19 cases in Sarawak now stands at 1,073. No more limits on the number of customers per table at food premises. Senior Minister for Security Cluster Dato' Ismail Sabri Yaakob said this relaxation of SOP is subject to social distancing and applicable to all areas except those under the Enhanced Movement Control Order.
Saya mendengar rungutan dan pandangan daripada orang ramai. Kadang-kadang mereka keluar bila kita buka kenderaan tidak ada had tempat duduk lagi. Mungkin mereka keluar satu keluarga 6 orang dengan MPV. Jadi bagi mereka tidak menasabah kalau mereka diasing-asingkan, keluarga mereka diasingkan duduk 2 meja dan sebagainya. Jadi kita benarkan as long as ada penjagaan sosial.
However, he stressed that the relaxation on SOPs announced by the government since December 7 is not a green light for the people to be complacent as the COVID-19 pandemic is far from over. He added organizing of social activities, including wedding ceremonies, are still not allowed in CMCO areas. With regards to that, Ismail also reminded people returning to their village for Christmas to always be vigilant and obey stipulated SOPs to curb the spread of the virus.
Meanwhile, for Noor Farihah Abdul Ghaffar, the relaxation of standard operating procedures does not mean that customers can completely ignore it. She stresses that the vaccine is not yet available yet on the market and strongly urges that all customers practice social distancing at all times.
Kelonggaran yang diberi menteri kan amat asal berpuas hati lah. And then walaupun ada rasa takut-takut sikit sebab masa COVID ni kan vaksin dia belum ada lagi. So diorang kata tahun depan baru ada vaksin. Kita pun belum tahu vaksin itu sama ada berkesan ataupun tidak. Okay. So semenjak kelonggaran diberi ni, customer makin ramailah datang ke kedai. And then kalau satu family tu boleh satu meja, boleh sambung meja lah tapi dengan jarak 1 meter.
As for Sheban Mohaban and Nick Noh, the lifting of the MCO will be able to recover the economy slowly.
Kami sangat bersyukur dan berterima kasihlah kepada kementerian kerana memberi kelonggaran untuk kedai makan untuk beroperasi macam biasa nak. Jadi tentang pelanggan yang kini tu sihat lagi boleh duduk, boleh macam dulu juga lah, macam 4 orang sikit kursi memang sihat lagi. Ini lagi kami ucapkan ribuan terima kasih lah kepada Kementerian Keselamatan.
Jadi kelonggaran tu kira beri peluang juga lah kepada pelanggan-pelanggan untuk membantu pekedai ataupun peniaga-peniaga kita jugalah. Semuanya kalau terhad, mungkin pelang itulah dia kita bagi peluang dia balik sebab keadaan COVID kan ni kesan yang paling teruk adalah peniaga.
The Dewan Negara and Dewan Rakyat have agreed to set up a joint committee to find short-term and long-term solutions to address the issue of COVID-19 in prisons.
Dewan Negara President Tan Sri Dr. Rais Yatim said the matter was decided at the joint committee meeting to establish a caucus to tackle the issue of COVID-19 in prisons. Rais said in a special briefing on the matter would also be held with the relevant ministers after the Dewan Rakyat sitting ends on December 17. He said due to the overcrowding issue, it was necessary to look for measures that will ensure prisons in the country will not be congested. Rais said Parliament has the responsibility to look in the interest of the people's well-being to help the government to curb the spread of COVID-19 in Malaysian prison as a whole.
The Tourism, Arts and Culture Ministry will roll out several short-term initiatives to boost the domestic tourism industry. The initiatives that would be introduced by the ministry following the relaxation of restrictions on interstate and inter-district travel would include e-vouchers and rebates.
Its Minister Datuk Sri Nancy Shukri said the Rakyat will receive various incentives and promotion in the form of vouchers, rebates, e-vouchers, cashback in e-wallets and discounts for bookings for tourism packages, accommodation and transport.
Membina keyakinan di kalangan rakyat, iaitu rakyat kita bahawa adalah selamat untuk melancong di dalam Malaysia. Sebab itulah kita yakin bahawa penggiat industri pelancongan kita telah pun bersedia dalam aspek ini dari awal dan terus dibenarkan. Terus bergerak sepenuhnya sebaik sahaja aktiviti pelancongan dibenarkan. Kita beri galakan untuk rakyat kita melancong. Untuk ini kita tawarkan kepada rakyat insentif dan promosi dalam bentuk voucher rebat, e-voucher, cashback dalam bentuk e-wallet dan diskaun untuk tempahan pakej pelancongan, penginapan dan pengangkutan.
She said this in a reply to a question from Wan Hassan Muhammad Ramli, Minister's question and answer period. Wan Hassan had asked the ministry to state its short-term strategies to promote domestic tourism after the easing of travel restrictions. Nancy said the ministry will also focus on building confidence among the people and raise awareness that it is safe to travel domestically. She added that this is why her ministry is confident that all industry players are prepared in this aspect and will continue to move as soon as tourism activities are allowed. The initiatives include media promotions on various platforms and to further boost the traditional craft industry.
Kenal dan promosikan destinasi pelancongan di luar bandar atau hidden gems kerana pelancong kini lebih cenderung memilih destinasi yang selamat, kurang orang dan udara segar. Selain itu, Tuan Yang Di-Pertua Motek akan teruskan siri jelajah semarakan pelancongan domestik. Kita akan pergi ke seluruh negara lagi sekali untuk mempromosikan pelancongan domestik, memperkenalkan produk baru pelancongan dan juga memberi nafas baru kepada produk sedia ada.
The direct selling industry in Malaysia recorded an encouraging growth to become a large industry that contributed to the country's domestic economy. Malaysia was ranked 7th globally and 4th in Asia Pacific in terms of sales value in the World Federation of Direct Selling Associations Global Direct Selling Sales Report for 2019. Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Minister Dato' Sri Alexander Nantalinggi said the direct selling industry in Malaysia can reach sales of 20 billion ringgit by year-end despite the current economic challenges.
Placed Malaysia direct selling industry to the rank 7th in the world in terms of sales generated, or 4th in the Asia Pacific region, as reported by the World Federations of Direct Selling Association, or WFDSA, in their Global Direct Selling 2019 Retail Sales Report.
He said the industry hit sales of 17.8 billion ringgit as of September 2020, surpassing the 17 billion ringgit recorded last year and 15.9 billion ringgit in 2018. Nanta said his ministry was proud of the achievement and committed to support the growth of the industry by adapting to changing business trends and new trade norms in the country. He added the ministry's priority is to help facilitate business activities in the country, thus ensuring business operations can be carried out more efficiently.
The renewal of the direct selling license, which we fondly call Akta Jualan Langsung, has been simply modified, or modified simply. The process has been shortened, but all the necessary compliances are still in effect. And second, the applications for promotions, campaigns, and advertisements have been made easier. Companies now only need to notify the ministry before the beginning of these campaigns.
Meanwhile, he said his ministry was also formulating the direct selling industry plan for the 12th Malaysia Plan, specifically to draft the industry's strategic direction towards contributing to the country's socio-economic empowerment. This is in line with the ability of the direct selling industry to contribute to the country's economic strengthening efforts, apart from its importance in creating employment and business opportunities for the people. All right, welcome back. A General Operations Force GOF personnel was arrested by the police on Wednesday for allegedly abetting the smuggling of illegal immigrants in Tabakang near Syrian. Confirming the matter, Sarawak Police Commissioner Dato' ID Ismail said the suspect posted at the Tabadu COVID-19 Benteng was apprehended after bringing in 3 Indonesians without valid documents. According to ID, after an inspection was carried out, the suspect was seen together with an Indonesian man and 2 Indonesian women in the vehicle. However, the 3 illegals did not possess any valid travel documents. Initial investigations found the suspect confessing to being paid in exchange for smuggling Indonesians. Previously, the Sarawak State Disaster Management Committee, SDMC, issued a strong warning that its forces will have no compromise with any employers that hire illegal immigrants, especially those with a high risk of spreading COVID-19. Work on 13 of the 64 rural road projects, or PJLB, approved under the 11th Malaysia Plan for Sarawak is now fully completed.
Second Deputy Minister of Rural Development, Dato' Henry Sam Agong, said the remaining projects are in the design stage with 39 projects, 3 projects in the procurement stage, while 9 are in the construction stage. He was responding to a question from Rubiah Wang, GPS Kota Samarahan, on the ministry's achievement and action to increase infrastructure such as water and electricity supply, social amenities and roads, especially in Kota Samarahan. Henry said for the social amenity program, 3 projects worth 1.25 million ringgit had been approved for the Kota Samarahan parliamentary constituency for 2020. He added one of the projects had been completed while the other 2 are in the implementation stage. He further said that a total of 285.6 million ringgit is allocated for the implementation of 16 rural electricity supply projects in Sarawak in 2020 to provide electricity to 3,200 houses.
The state government has allocated 145 million ringgit to mitigate the water supply crisis faced by the people of Sri Aman during the dry season. Minister of Utilities, Dato Sri Dr. Stephen Rundi Utom, said the project is currently in the tender process. The minister said the water project is aimed at overcoming water supply disruptions affecting the entire town of Sri Aman due to the extended period of drought in the state back in 2019. He said the facility will transfer water from Batang Lupar as the one located in Engkelili is not sufficient to meet the needs for treated water in Bayai. The project includes improving water treatment plants and replacing old pipes. The project is expected to be complete in 3 years. 5 Perak Assemblymen on Thursday took their oaths in office as Perak State Executive Council members before Sultan of Perak Nazrin Muizuddin Shah at the Istana Iskandaria.
4 assemblymen retained their exco posts under the previous administration, namely Lintang Assemblyman Dato Zulkifli Harun, Rungkup Assemblyman Dato Syahrul Zaman Yahya, Kampong Gajah Assemblyman Dato Dr. Wan Norashikin Wan Noruddin, and Bota Assemblyman Khairul Syahril Mohammed. Sungai Mani Assemblyman Dato Zainul Fadzi Paharuddin also took his oath. The appointment of the 5 assemblymen has received the royal approval of Sultan Nazrin after their names were presented to the Sultan by Menteri Besar Datuk Sarani Mohamad. Earlier this morning, Kota Tampan Assemblyman Sarani took his oath as Perak's 14th Menteri Besar.
And that concludes the Nightline. As always, thank you for joining me. I am Razi Ahmad for TVS. Stay safe and have a good night.